So what's the Grape Explorer talking about today? So one of the most interesting areas that a lot of people have spent time on is the Rhone Valley. And I want to talk a little bit about why it's a special area, why Americans absolutely adore Côtes du Rhône, for instance, or Châteauneuf-du-Pape, or some of the other areas. We wanted to really spend some time and maybe highlight the reasons why we think Americans really, really love Côtes du Rhône. But we're going to show you how to identify on the label of what is Côtes du Rhône, because Côtes du Rhône, of course, it could be very generic on the label and just say Côtes du Rhône, but there's a lot of different areas of the Côtes du Rhône that we're going to talk about, because I think it's important for you to understand how to read a Côtes du Rhône label, especially when it comes from a single village. That's what we got right here. So we're going to spend time talking about this wine that comes from a single village area called Syrah. And see, if you can see it, it's very distinctive on the label. This is how you read the label. You say, okay, so this is the name of the producer here. You've got Côtes du Rhône here, which could be a lot of different areas. Then, but you're going to highlight an area called Syrah, and we're going to point that out a little bit. But we're going to break out our map here of the Rhone just to show you this area here, which is called Côtes du Rhône Village. And you can see it's quite close to Rasteau, Gigondas, some of the other areas. We talk about this as a cru, which is called Syrah. They were really starting to do this as now we have 22 villages in the Southern Rhone that have permitted to add to their name of Côtes du Rhône a title, having identified as producing higher quality wines expressive of the regional area. Syrah is quite close, and we can point it on the map here, northeast to the town of Orange. And it lies in the heart of the Côtes du Rhône village, separated by all their different fellow titles. It is the northern neighbor of Sablé, which is another Rhone cru, a title often used in the region to denote a standalone appellation. Rasteau, which is immediately to the west, and then you got a neighboring cru, which is Rhone, which are beautiful wines, by the way, and we'll talk about that at another time. But we wanted to spend some time here because this is one of the best values that I think exists in Côtes du Rhône Village, and Syrah. But again, you have to learn to read a label of Côtes du Rhône to understand what is on the label, and it clearly tells you the village right here, which is called Syrah. I love the wines of Syrah. I think they're one of the best areas. You got a lot of mineral tone. The basic grape here we're talking about is Grenache. All right, so 60% Grenache here. They blend in about 30% Syrah, which is very, very important. Then they throw in 10% of, it's a secret, it's called Carignan. You don't see too much Carignan in the Côtes du Rhône, but guess what? Carignan grows, in this area, flourishes. It actually gives the wine that structure. Again, because when you're talking about Grenache, they can be a little fruity. Syrah can be a little more full, peppery notes you get off of the Syrah, and then you throw in a little bit of that Carignan, which you have that really deep kind of penetrating fruit. So when you smell this wine, it's just chock loads of red fruits. I get raspberries, I get blackberries. You get a lot of that garrique. What is that term, garrique? I want to spend a little time, because when you're tasting Rhone wines, there's a very unique flavor profile called garrique. Garrique is actually a bush that grows in the Rhone. It's very Mediterranean, because if you look on this map, this whole area is very Mediterranean, very Provençal. You get a lot of smells of what we call Provençal herbs and spices, because think about it, you get all the herbs that grow in this area, basil, and you get fennel, and you get all these different herbs. So there's a bush that grows there. It's called garrique, and it gets into the soil. And so when the vines are penetrating, looking for water, they're pulling up water, but they're also pulling up all these different nuances that come out of the soil. So you get that garrique or that Provençal kind of style, which actually blends a lot with that raspberry kind of fruit. It's very distinctive. You're not going to get that anywhere else in the world. You're only going to get garrique from a Côtes du Rhône or somewhere in Provence. Very, like I said, very Provençal kind of style. But it comes out distinctly in this wine. So this is really cool that you can actually smell that kind of bush and that herb quality, which gives it a very definitive style. But when we taste this wine, oh, crushed herb. Yeah, you get that fennel. You get that really, you get lavender too, so you get that kind of flower as well that comes out in these fruits. You get that red crushed raspberry kind of fruit tinge at the end, that minerality expression that you get out of any wines from the Rhone. You're going to get all that mineral expression. So this is what we call value. This is pure value. These wines are under $25 a bottle. So if you don't want to spend a lot of money and you want a wine that's got what I call immediate gratification, you don't have to spend time aging this wine. You just pop it, drink it. It's a perfect wine for the summertime because you can have this with barbecue, just grilled steaks in the backyard, and you want to have a nice red that'll complement anything that you're doing, grilling sausage or any kind of, lamb. These are beautiful wines. You don't have to spend a lot of money. That's why we're here. We're here to try to educate the consumer that you don't have to spend a lot of money to get a hell of a bottle of wine. And again, this tells you everything on the label that you really want to know. It's called Cotes du Rhône, and it's called Syrah, which is one of the best villages under the radar. Nobody really knows these wines. Keeps the prices down, keeps the prices lower, getting good value. Again, this is a Grape Explorer. We're always here to try to help you look for the best wines in France. Cheers.